get started in trucking. So it was actually pretty strategic. I always view myself as a blue collar kind of guy. So I wanted a job that had freedom, and I could kind of be my own contractor. Also, I wanted a job with a specialized skill set. And I looked at trucking. My father got his CDL. My grandfather had his CDL. And the funny part is I didn't even know that until after I got my CDL. But so I guess it was kind of in the blood. But anyway, like most things that I endeavor in, I try to learn all the ins and outs of it, even if that means I got to start from the bottom. And that's exactly what I did. I actually started. I knew. So coming into this, I'm not one of them guys who grew up driving trucks or grew up being around trucks. I knew absolutely nothing about driving trucks before I got my CDL. So I went to a warehouse to work loading trucks overnight, midnight shift, 11 p.m. at night to 8 or 9 in the morning, wherever we stopped, whenever the dock was clean, usually around 8 or 9 in the morning. But I did that because in my book, now this isn't everybody's take on this, but this is my personal philosophy. I actually wanted to start, and there's no disrespect to anybody who is, working in a warehouse or driving a forklift or loading trucks, but to me, that was the beginning point of my journey, because I wanted to start at a point where I loaded the trucks before I even got behind it. I wanted to know it from even that aspect, how it's loaded. So I worked in a warehouse for about 4 or 5 months. And then I decided to go to truck driving school. You don't have to go to truck driving school in order to get your CDL. And then there are also different lengths of truck driving school. I believe 6 months is the longest, and that's the route I took. I know some of them, they have like expedited programs you can go to, but I took the 6-month route because I figured it would be the longest and the most tedious. Also, I would gain the most out of it in my particular book. So I worked midnights. I got off about 8 or 9 in the morning, and I went to school for 6 hours out of the day during the day, starting at 11 p.m., I believe it was. No, it couldn't have been 11. I'm sorry, I think it was like 12. I think I was in school from like 12 p.m. to 6:30 at night, something like that. But anyway, as you can imagine, I wasn't getting any sleep at all, except for a little intermittent sleep. But it was cool with me because I'm a soldier. I've always been that way. And I used to, take little naps at work during a break. And working a warehouse, it was wild because we had 15-minute breaks for lunch. But there were 2 15-minute breaks. No, I'm sorry. Take that back. It was half an hour. 2 half-an-hour breaks that we would get. So there came a point in time when I started going to truck driving school, I stopped even sleeping on my breaks or playing around on my phone on break. and it was just straight studying the books, straight studying motor vehicle safety stuff, learning my pre-trip during the break, and I would pretty much be up. And then when I got home, at that time, I didn't have a car. I did buy a car for the purpose of going back and forth to school. But that car kept breaking down on me. So it was pretty much of no use. I dumped a bunch of money into it. And I ended up catching a bus. So if you factor into the time I got off work, 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, and I had to be right to school at 12, it took me an hour and some change even to get home, And then, I wanted to shower or eat something for breakfast when I got home. And by that time, it was time for me to catch the bus right back to school. So it was literally no time to sleep between working 10 to 12, whatever hours it was overnight, then going right into an intense truck driving program. But, I knew I had goals, and I knew, this could change my life, which it does, which it did. Truck driving has changed my life. And I knew the effort that I had to put out for it. And I was willing to make that sacrifice. And I think that that's how a lot of people need to approach the goals in life that they want, no matter what it is. You need to be able to sacrifice, no matter what it is. There's no stopping you. You move heaven and earth in order to reach your goal. So I went to truck driving school for those 6 months, and I took it really serious. There was no downtime for me while I was at school. Meaning, they gave us the little rundown before we got to school about how people wasted time, particularly when we out on the range. And the range is pretty much a big open parking lot, big open space where you practice all the technical maneuvers that they teach you, like how to parallel park and offset and alley dock your truck and different things like that, straight line back. There were times when, you would learn your pre-trip, you would go over your pre-trip for hours, with a partner or something like that, or you do it by yourself. You would learn it, and then you would get it down pat, and then you would work on your skills, like moving a truck, offsetting the truck or parallel parking the truck. And it would become mundane. It would become boring after a while. And because it became boring, people would stop doing it. But I never stopped. I made sure that I was always in a truck. I was never just walking around, cracking jokes and not doing something with training. And that actually paid off for me in a huge way when I graduated. And the reason why is because the traditional route, when you get out of school, usually you're going to get signed on by a big company to pick you up. And you'll do your training with them, because remember, when you get out of school as a truck driver, when you graduate, you get your CDL, that's just the beginning of your journey. You really don't even know how to be a truck driver. All you've shown proficiency is that you've learned whatever it takes to get your CDL. Now here comes the part where you actually become a truck driver, and I think that's what, when you get out, you get picked up by the big companies, they actually teach you how to drive a truck and how, the ins and outs of being out on the road and stuff like that. Also, once you get that experience, generally a year of experience, you can start to apply to different kind of jobs and start to make the money. I wasn't as fortunate as that. I didn't get picked up by one of the big carriers or anything like that because of my background. I have a misdemeanor in my background, and for that they didn't pick me up for it. So what happened, by the grace of God, we have a career services woman at our school, and she helps you find jobs. That's her job. It's just to help you find employment. So all these big companies, commercial companies, were shutting me down. So I went back to her and I told her, I was a little frustrated at the time. I was like, man, I put all this effort, staying up all night, sacrificing. I know I outworked everybody that I went to school with. I know I put forth more effort. Here it is after I got my CDL. I can't even find employment. I wanted to go with the big carriers, and get all the perks that they came to school with the recruiter trying to teach me. Well, life is funny because you may have a plan, but life has another plan for you. So I went to the lady and, I told her my circumstance and, nobody's picking me up. And, she kind of like went in her drawer and, she went in her drawer and was like, took out a number and was like, listen, this from the bottom stack. This like a secret contact. She slid me a number. So, it was under the table, at that particular point. She said, call this guy. He's been calling up here trying to find if there were any students. I said, okay. So I went home and I, shot the guy. I called him and I had his email, so I shot the guy email. And I'm new. I'm a rookie. Well, I'm only 2 years in, so I'm still a rookie. But I'm a rookie, Daisy Fresh at that particular point, and I didn't know, what an owner-operator. I knew what an owner-operator was, but I didn't, if that makes any sense. So when she slid me the number, it was a number to a guy who was an owner-operator who had a small little fleet, maybe 5 or 6 trucks, and he was looking for somebody who could drive for him. But because of the pay, he wanted students, because student wouldn't require top dollar like a seasoned pro would. The only thing with the student that he had to counterbalance is coming right out of school, we weren't truck drivers. We barely knew how to drive a truck. So this is where I tell you, when your hard work pays off. Driving the truck in school, I knew I wanted to work for a mega carrier, but at the end of the day, I put in a lot of work because somehow I had to plan or another. And I know now it's kind of foolish, but back then I had to plan. If nobody picked me up, I was going to get a loan, buy my own truck, and just run myself. Now, I didn't know all the ins and outs that I do now. That's damn near impossible for just a rookie driver to do straight out of school. But nonetheless, I had that intention. So where I'm going with that is that I wanted to make sure that I actually knew how to drive the trucks to perfection almost when I came out of school. Which, I still don't know how to drive the truck to perfection. I don't think anybody damn near 20 years short of know how to drive to perfection. But I'm a hell of a driver, in my craft. So anyway, to make a long story short, I practiced real hard, and the school took note of it. Even the instructors, even some of the hard-ass instructors that I had took note that, I was a pretty good driver. So when I went to the career services lady, my reputation preceded itself, and she later told me the only reason that she gave me the number is because the instructors used to talk about, how advanced I was compared to the rest of the students. So when I called this guy, the owner-operator, the first thing, of course, he wanted to know was, was I comfortable driving, and could I drive one of his trucks? And I told him, yeah. And I'm gonna make another video on the experiences of that first year driving as a rookie with the owner-operator. But it was a blessing because I learned so much, so much being out there pretty much by myself that year. You know, I got thrown to the wolves. I mean, literally. Like when I called him and he asked me if I was good to go, I think like a day or two or the next day, he threw me the keys and was like, you gotta run, you gotta load the trailer, and the trailer's already loaded and hooked up to the truck. He gave me the bill of lading and was like, you know, you pick up you drop off in Georgia and pick up in somewhere like South Carolina or something. It's a small run, but I mean, I was in the middle of the night headed down to Georgia right out of school, and you know, it was my first time ever not even driving a rig without somebody in it. So that was just an experience of its own. But again, I say, you know, I learned a lot, and it was a blessing because not only did I learn a lot, but in terms of pay, I got paid a lot more under this owner-operator than my classmates who graduated with me at the time did working with the big companies. Because, you know, I was able to dodge that bullet, you know, out of blissful ignorance. But I didn't know that the big companies were like shafting them with the pay. And while they're barely scraping and, you know, trying to make ends meet, I was bringing home $15, sometimes $2,000 a week driving for the owner-operator as a rookie with no experience. So, you know, I was just blessed in that. And it just made me an overall more confident driver. The owner-operator had a lot of different things going, and what I mean by that, he had a lot of different contracts. So he also gave me a lot of different looks with driving different types of trailers and stuff. Like he had, you know, I would run a flatbed, you know, I would run a reefer, then I would run a dry van, then the actual loads that we would take were different, you know. I would go real heavy, sometimes needed a permit, you know, light. Then, you know, there'd be times where he would take me off the road, over the road for a month. He would take me off of being over the road, and he was like, listen, I need you to run these local this local contract that I have until I can put somebody in there for like a month or two. And I was driving locally, you know, in a day cab and stuff like that. And I bounced back to it. And then the actual trucks. The trucks were whatever he had at the time. And, you know, I was just following orders like a soldier. So, you know, he might say, hey, I got a Mac that I need you to drive this week. And it's 13 speed. I've never driven a 13 speed in my life. Then next week he's like, hey, I got a brand new Freightliner that's semi-automatic. I mean, it's automatic with the clutch. You got to drive that. Or I ended up driving a fully automatic, or a 10-speed, a 9-speed. I drove them all. I would drive, you know, he would have me do specialty hauling, like trash hauling, a trash hauler. You know, I would haul the trash to someplace in Virginia and drive. So I got tremendous amount of experience in that, just in that year. And it was actually over a year that I worked, year and some change. And because of that background, the job that I have right now, or in trucker terms, the lane that I'm in right now is sweet. They valued that experience, and you know, I got a really good gig because of that. You know, so I would say, like, you know, if you're in truck driving school, planning to go, man, really take that experience serious. Like, every minute of being there, try to just be your best. Try to learn as much as you can. And I mean, because for like me, you know, I worked for the owner operator, and he pretty much was like, hey man, you know, I'm not babysitting, I'm not training, you know, anything like that. You know, he would give me a little advice here and there, but it would usually be in anger after after I messed up something. So, I mean, you know, what I want to say with that is that you have those instructors while you're there in school. You know, pick their brains, use them to be your mentor while you're there. I mean, you're paying for it. You have that experience and you have that leverage where, you know, you have all those people who are teaching you, who have been in the game for a minute. They know the ins and outs of trucking, or hopefully they do if they're your instructors. And, you know, use them, man. Because, again, you know, you might have a plan, but life may have another plan for you. And right at the school, I never had the opportunity to have a driver trainer or a mentor or anything like that. I was kind of thrown to the wolves. I roamed the country by myself, and I pretty much figured out, you know, as much as I figured out by myself. That was it. So take it serious. Always be in, 100. Give 100 during training, and there's no such thing as downtime while you're there. That's time you're actually paying for. You got a loan for, you came out of your pocket for. So, you know, maximize it to the fullest. This is Tony, aka Trucks and Cigars. My people, I'll holler at y'all later.